Hello, friends. You've stumbled across a short clip from the Daily Switch 2 podcast, which, believe it or not, is a podcast that is about the Switch 2 with new episodes released daily. What will they think of next? The other way that this game gives a glimpse into the Switch 2's future is with the unique use of mouse mode and the IR and motion controls of the Joy-Cons. Don't worry if it turns out you hate it, there are the other 12 businesses that don't require mouse mode at all, and you can easily complete the game with the 3 that do. In fact, that's exactly the experience Switch 1 players will have. But mouse mode is something that still very much has to prove itself and show that it has unique and fun ways to be used instead of just only being a pointer. The first time I saw Drag X Drive, I finally understood what Nintendo was going for. Combining mouse movement with motion controls, gyro aiming, etc. And you can use 2 mice at once if you want to. It remains to be seen how many games successfully incorporate any of this, but I think this game makes a damn good attempt, and even as a card-carrying waggle hater, I actually found myself having fun with the motion controls in this particular game. They're well done. These, as I said, use the built-in features of the Joy-Con 2. They're motion control games. They use mouse mode for kind of picking up the sushi or picking up the items and preparing and chopping. But they also use the motion gyro capabilities. And when it comes to throwing something like the Ninja Star or the sushis into the mouth, you actually flip the Joy-Con over, so it's upside down in your hand, which feels surprisingly cool, actually, holding it in your hand with your hand the other way around to how you'd usually expect it to be. And then you use your other hand to flick over the top of it, literally as if you are throwing a ninja throwing star, and it uses the IR sensor, the optical sensor on the bottom that is usually used for mouse mode, to track, how fast your hand moves past and at what angle, and that's how the things fly. It's super cool, It sounds a bit janky or a bit gimmicky, but it feels very, very accurate, and it's very responsive and moves exactly in time with your hands. And while we were doing it, I was actually thinking, do you know what? You could make a really, really cool golf game here, like a mini golf game, or with some cool cartoony themes or something to make it interesting. But yeah, you could make a really cool golf game here that I actually think would play a bit better or a bit more accurately than the actual kind of Wiimote style games where you're swinging your target around. I actually felt that this was very, very intuitive, and I've not seen any other games using this mode so far. Perhaps the forthcoming update for Mario Party Jamboree will. I imagine that Bandai Namco aren't the only people who've thought of doing this, but it was new to me, and I thought it was really cool. I mentioned earlier that I'm not convinced about the mouse mode in general. It's not very comfortable, especially not compared to holding an actual mouse. So for games that just need the mouse pointer consistently, like something like Civilization, personally I'd just want to play with a real mouse. Even though it is convenient to be able to take the Joy-Con off, for any long play sessions I'd want to use a real mouse. But then when I saw the demo for Drag X Drive, something in my head went, oh wow, okay, that's really cool. That's doing things that you can't do with an actual mouse. And this game is exactly the same as well. It's using them, it's simple, kind of gimmicky mini-games. I'd argue that these 3 mini-games aren't as substantial as the main mini-games, which are also available in the Switch 1 version. But it's interesting, and it's nice that a third party is at least trying to take advantage of the new hardware in interesting and creative ways. So it remains to be seen in the long run whether many developers start using these extra features, or whether they just become a kind of underutilized gimmick, as has happened with certain Nintendo features in the past. But we shall see. And if you're interested in Drag X Drive, I will be doing a full episode on that too, because a lot of information has come out about it recently, and I actually think it's a lot more interesting than many people initially assume. And it's cheaper as well too, considering it's an official Nintendo product. I was really fearful that it was going to release at a ridiculous price, but actually, no, it's very affordable. I think they know that it's a bit of a wild card, a bit of a, oh, I'll have to try that out and see whether I like it. It's not a guaranteed sales, so the fact that they're releasing it at a reasonable price, I think will help it a lot. Well, that was funny / sad / informative / stupid, wasn't it? Feel free to mentally redact to make that make sense with the clip that you just heard. I don't know what it was. I'm just recording a bumper. But if you enjoyed the clip, please give it a like. If you'd like to hear more, click subscribe, and you can find all the ways to listen to and support the full daily podcast at linktree/dailyswitch2. That's linktr.ee/dailyswitch2. Let's go! Did I sound like I mean that? I do. I really do.